The next vocabulary word that you need to understand, because we don't just want you to go out there after this webinar and just start buying real estate, because you can buy wrong and you can get caught up, and all of a sudden you put your proud post in the Facebook group, hey, I bought, and then 1 year later you don't have the home because you bought wrong. Right. And so we want to make sure that you buy right, meaning that this asset stays in your family for the rest of your life. And so I want to give you the four criteria for what it means to buy right. Right. So buying right means that, one, there's at least 12% cash on cash return. Right. And this is important. This is really important that you know how to calculate that. Most people do not know how to calculate that, even real estate agents. For those of you who have passed on your decision making to and empowered a real estate agent to make decisions for you, my question to you is, why would you allow a real estate agent who does not have the wealth that you desire to make the biggest financial decision of your life? Why would you allow a real estate agent who does not have the wealth that you desire and does not own any multifamily real estate to make the biggest financial decision of your life? You cannot be pushed around, persuaded. Oh yeah, well, the market is, you got to move quick. You got to make an aggressive offer. Okay, what's your balance sheet? Ask your real estate what their balance sheet is. Ask them how many doors do they own, right? You are responsible for this decision, and it is up to you to evaluate the deal. And then it's up to your real estate agent to execute the deal. But you have to be the most educated in this process. Cash on cash return, the most important number in multifamily real estate investing, is not on the real estate exam, family. It is not on the real estate. Not teach this. Okay. Real estate agents come to me to learn about multifamily real estate investing so that they can, one, build their own portfolio, and two, serve investor clients like myself who buy multiple properties every year. All right. The next criteria for buying right means that the cash flow is at least $300 per door. If it's any less than that, then it's really not worth it. So $300 per door, if you buy a fourplex, that's $1,200 in cash flow from a particular property. Now that can cover your 2-car notes, that can cover a mortgage, that can cover a cell phone bill, restaurant, groceries, insurances that you have to pay. We want it to have significant impact and eliminate your other expenses that are leaving your household every single month. All right. The next criteria for buying right means that there's immediate equity. Immediate equity means that you locked in the contract at $300,000, but it appraises at $325,000. That means you're stepping into $25,000 of equity immediately, right out the gates. And then the fourth criteria is that there's definite appreciation potential. Definite appreciation potential, meaning that based on the 33 signs of gentrification, we covered some of them in the podcast, so go back and watch that. Based on the 33 signs of gentrification, that you found a property that is in a neighborhood with 10 to 15 signs of gentrification and is moving towards 33. You never want to buy in a neighborhood that has all 33 signs of gentrification, because now you're buying at the peak. If you buy in a neighborhood that has 10 to 15 and is moving upward, then you know you're going to benefit from that appreciation. So when I bought in Brooklyn, New York, right, in Bed-Stuy, it was called Do or Die Bed-Stuy. It was called Crooklyn. And Crooklyn, or Do or Die Bed-Stuy, had 10 to 15 signs of gentrification. And I saw what was happening, and it was coming. What did Jay-Z say? I should have bought in Dumbo, right? I saw the wave coming from Manhattan to Dumbo to Fort Greene to Stuyvesant Heights to Bed-Stuy. And now that wave is all the way out in East New York going towards JFK. And what has happened to my equity as a result of me getting to ride that wave? My equity on that property has gone up by $400,000 in 8 years. That's $50,000 a year in appreciation for me doing nothing. Some of you at this moment in time don't even earn $50,000 a year. I earn that passively just because I bought right. That's why it's really important for you to be able to understand and see what the 33 signs of gentrification are, identify them, and find properties that are in that zone of 10 to 15 with upward trend. All right. So I'm going to give you an example of another property that I bought right, because I have all the appraisals and everything right here for you as evidence. So I bought this property in Oakland, California, my hometown, in November 2017 for $480,000. Okay, it immediately appraised while under contract. Appraisal is required by the lender, and it appraised at $505,000. What that means is that the seller's agent made a mistake. The seller's agent didn't do their due diligence, and as a result, they underpriced the property. Right, so I'm stepping into $25,000 of equity right out the gates. So I'm already up. I've already won. Okay. It's not cash, right? It's equity in the property, but my net worth has increased. So from there, this property, because of the great rents in Oakland, it definitely cash flows at over 12%. And then 27 months later, when I went to refinance, as the interest rates dropped, in February 2021, the property appraised at $710,000. So because I bought right, I'm up $230,000 in 27 months with no major repairs. The only repair we had to do in Oakland was a sewer lateral because that was required, and that was about $6,000. That was required by the new buyer of the property, and that's for all properties bought in Oakland, in the Bay Area, it's during a certain time period. Okay, so that's a major win. That's almost $250,000 in appreciation in 27 months. Okay, so this is the power of buying right. And something about this property, guess what, y'all? I've never set foot in this property. I have never set foot in this property. I bought it from a distance while living in Brooklyn, New York. I knew the neighborhood because I was from there, and I knew the numbers, and I had a great agent on the ground. So your money does not have to work in the same city as you do. When you learn real estate investing in the way that I teach it, your money does not have to work in the same city as you do. Some of you own Amazon stock and never been to Seattle. Some of you own Nike stock and never been to Oregon, right? So the same thing applies with real estate. When you understand what I'm teaching you, right? When you understand the real estate real talk, when you understand how to build a real estate Rolodex, and when you understand how to run the numbers, you can invest anywhere without actually even going there. And so that's what opens the world for you, because a lot of people limit their real estate search to just what they see and what they drive by on a daily basis. All right. That's how I ended up expanding my portfolio in New Orleans, smaller, less expensive, less sexy market than Brooklyn. Right. I was comfortable with investing from a distance. If I was to invest in Brooklyn and try to build my portfolio there, saving up 25% for a non-owner occupied down payment on $1 million property would have been required $250,000 in cash. And that would have taken quite some time to save. Right. So those are some of the key vocabulary words, the real talk that you need to know. And it needs to be like it needs to become your new language. I know this is a secondary language for some of you, but you have to develop this language so that you can navigate this space, right? Anytime you're going into a new country, you have to learn the language. Rashad and Troy, obviously they're in England, they're in London, so they speak English. But if they were to go to Paris, right, they would have to learn a little bit of French so that they can navigate that space properly. The same thing is with real estate investing, all right? So those are our foundational pieces, right? The next thing we want to get into is your real estate Rolodex. A lot of people ask me all the time, Jullien, where do you go to find multifamily real estate deals? What websites? And I look at them and I tell them, I don't go to websites. As I said earlier, my last 8 deals did not come from any website. They came from human beings. So a lot of you have the hookup at a store like Foot Locker or Best Buy, or grocery store, or some restaurant. How do you have that hookup? You got the hookup because somebody you know works there. Right? You got the hookup through an individual, through a human being, and real estate operates in the same exact way. We don't go to Trulia, Zillow, right? That's where multifamily real estate deals go to die. Any multifamily real estate deal you see, in fact, I don't want to call it a deal. You have to understand the difference between a listing and a deal, okay? Everything that comes through the MLS are real estate listings. We are not looking for real estate listings. We are looking for real estate deals, all right? That's all we are looking for. Anybody can put out a listing, and your agent, your uneducated agent, is going to say, hey, I found a real estate deal that you should look at. This is what you should do. Ask them, how do you know it's a deal? And they won't be able to answer the question. Well, it just came on market and it looks like it's a good price and it's a great neighborhood. No, that does not make something a deal. And so when we go through running the numbers and we know the criteria for what it means to buy right, you're going to understand the difference between a real estate listing and a real estate deal. You do not want to buy a real estate listing in this market because you will be stuck. Because guess what happens when interest rates go up? Guess what happens to the property values? Property values go down because less people want to buy at those higher interest rates. And so if you buy a listing in this market, you're going to be underwater as soon as interest rates go up, and you don't control interest rates, right? And so I want you to be very careful to make sure that you buy right in this particular market.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.